Shalom. First and foremost, giving all praises, glory, honor due to Yahweh Bashim Yahushai, Bahashim Yahweh Kakodash, double honors to my apostles, elders of great milestone who taught me this truth through the spirit, Yahweh Bashim Yahushai, honors to you, brothers, pushing this word, and sincerity and truth throughout the four corners of the earth, in the name of Yahweh and his beloved son, Yahweh Shai, through the spirit of Yahweh Kakodash. Okay, brothers Gabar, and not really, I don't have a big lesson or any lesson, so to speak, but just something real quick I wanted to put out. Ultimately today, I saw two women, one elder, look, could be like in her 70s or going into her, late 60s and going into her 70s. And then another younger, she could look like she was in her early 30s or mid 30s. And they were both cutting their grass today. And I made a statement to my coworker, today it was just a 2-man day for us. Usually it's 3. But on a truck, but a guy called out. Long story short, I had made a statement, that these quote unquote women, these females, these hoes, I said it straight up like this, these hoes, shit about to get real, for these hoes out here, and I said that ultimately because I seen them cutting their own grass, and usually, when it comes to cutting grass or whatever, I know I was always the one cutting grass growing up, rather than, my sister. She was always doing the inside work and I was doing the outside work growing up. But yeah, and it's true for you. I mean, and these women look like they could be like of another nation, but you never can know. You can never tell by the complexion. You actually have to tell by the spirit. But we didn't get that far into knowing that. But point being is, things about to get real for you quote unquote females, quote unquote women out here. Okay, in the field, man. Okay, and not about to be real quick, but he went into um he agreed. He was like, yeah, man, it goes back into something called feminism. So actually, for edification, that's and we all know through the scriptures, this goes back to the garden of the garden where Adam and Eve was placed. So let's ultimately go into this word feminism and grab a scripture and Lord willing, Abaratazah, edifying to the whole for that can close out. So feminism, let's grab this: qualities of females, advocacy of women's rights, okay, development of female secondary sexual characteristics in a male, okay. Um, right, so let's read it again. Qualities of females, advocacy of women's rights, okay. And women have rights to shut the fuck up and be obedience to your husband. Okay, guarding the house and teaching other women, younger women to do so, as the scriptures say. Guard the house, keep us at home, and ultimately, when it comes back, when we get in the kingdom, you women are ultimately going to be barefoot and pregnant in the house, man. And as the scriptures say, uh, not so that your feet actually touch the ground, man. Outside, that is, man. But ultimately, yeah. So we seen women cutting. I seen two women cut the grass. I made a statement. Yeah, these whole shit about to get real for these females, these hoes out here, man. And it is, because these women have a thing. Oh, I'm independent. This and that. There is no such thing as being independent. Okay, there's no such thing as being independent. Okay, independent. Okay, let's go into this word right fast. I said it's not dependent on something else. Okay, there's nobody that's independent. Not a man that's independent. It says not opposite of dependent. Is attested from Italian independere. In English, originated from churches, nations, in reference to person from, meaning to able to live well without labor. Okay, yeah, you're cutting grass, you're laboring, man. Okay, meaning unbiased, set up so as to be unaffected by outside influence. You women are not independent, man. It's not a man that's independent. Okay, we all depend on a source. Even the so-called white man who's in power today, okay, he depends on the source of Yahweh Hashem Yahushua, knowingly or unknowingly, okay, acknowledging, okay, okay, and Esau knows it, okay, Esau Edom knows it, okay, so he puts these and give these women, females, these hoes, these sluts, these whores, these quote unquote queens, right, liberties and freedoms, and put them on a pedestal, lie to them, and bamboozle them to make them feel as if they can be independent. Now, going back to my statement, I said these hoes, okay, shit about to get real for these hoes, these females, these sluts, these whores, these queens out here, man. Okay, and a coworker made a statement talking about feminism. Yeah, feminism, and I said, and I replied, it ultimately goes back to the garden where the serpent, which was Esau Edom, okay, uh, came to the woman, deceived her, as the scriptures say, her being the transgression, uh, took the fruit. He believes it was an actual fruit, an apple, whatever it may be, which was a philosophy, a doctrine, to ultimately make her uh, okay, to ultimately put her equal or with, as in God, okay. And the serpent ultimately said, "You surely shall not die, but you'll be as like the Most High, as gods." Right? When you go to it, let's type it in right fast. be as gods, right? No. Mm, right. All right. So um, Genesis 3:1. Now the serpent was more subtle than any beast of the field which Yahweh hath made, and he said unto the woman, Yea, hath the Most High said, Ye shall not eat of every tree of the garden? And the woman said unto the serpent, We may eat of the fruit of the trees of the garden, but of the fruit of the tree which is in the midst of the garden, the Most High hath said, Ye shall not eat of it, neither shall ye touch it, lest ye die. And the serpent said unto the woman, Ye shall surely not die, ye shall not surely die. For the Most High doth know that in the day ye eat thereof, then your eyes shall be open, and ye shall be as gods, knowing good and evil. Yeah, Psalms, what's that, 82:6? Okay, what makes us gods is actually knowing good and evil. Okay, and when the woman saw that the tree, which is ultimately what? Another nation, the other nations, was good for food, and that it was pleasant to the eyes, and a tree to be desired to make one wise. She took of the fruit thereof and did eat, and gave also unto her husband with her, and he did eat. Yeah, so my co-worker was saying there was an actual fruit, but I was explaining to him. I didn't want to go back and forth with him too. I was just sharing his thoughts on it. You know how you spar with people to see, if they'll get something, you know, uh, spar with their their minds, ultimately picking their brains to see, because ultimately I told him he was an Israelite. He knows he's an Israelite, this and the third. Okay, but I was seeing, you know, where his belief was at, with the description of this. And he went into Lilith and some Billy Carson talk, you know what I mean? Ultimately, okay, because the first time I heard about Lilith and Inky and Pinky and the brain and 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 all this madness, I heard it from out of this nigga Billy Carson's mouth. Okay, so he's mentioning Lilith and how it was another wife before that Adam had before Eve, and all this madness. I'm just like, listening, but I'm really just listening to him so I can, to hear his thoughts. I wasn't really. Nevertheless, let's get back to it. It says, and when the woman saw that the tree was good for food, and that it was pleasant for the eyes, and the tree to be desired to make one wise, she took of the fruit thereof, which actually was a philosophy, doctrine, and did eat. She ate it and gave also unto her husband with her, and he did eat it. Okay, and that's the whole moral behind the story. Don't be falling behind no damn woman. Okay, and the eyes of them both were open, and they knew that they were naked, exposed, sinned. It wasn't sin. And they sewed fig leaves together and made themselves aprons. And they heard the voice of Yahweh Bashem Yahushai, power walking in the garden in the cool of the day, and Adam and his wife hid themselves from the presence of Yahweh, power amongst the trees of the garden, which was ultimately the rest of the nations. Okay. women walking around butt ass naked, man. Um, but yeah, going back to the point of yeah, he said he believed it was an actual serpent. It was a snake slithering around, you know. But I explained I explained one time to him, and I didn't want to go back and forth with him because I'm not in that spirit of debating. I mean, I'm gonna tell you one time. This is what it is, you know, according to what I've been taught, which I believe is the truth, the 100% truth from the apostles and elders of Great Millstone, because I know Yahweh Shem Yahushua led me to him, and then that's what it is. You know, I'm not in the spirit of going back and forth. I'm just gonna hear what your thoughts is, and then okay, and I'm gonna let you go about your business. Okay, we're not in the time for these debates, man. To be going back and forth with individuals. Uh, okay, I know the scriptures say always be give ready to end. Uh, always to be give. Always um, to be ready to give an answer. But ultimately, you know, certain individuals, you know, the spirit to be on you to perceive that they're not going to get. Okay, there's truth. There's knowledge, wisdom, understanding of Yahweh Shem Yahshua, the truth of the scriptures. And there's no private interpretation. Grab that right fast. No private, because he was saying, you know, I was self-taught. You know, I'm self-taught. I have my own understanding according to my own understanding. The scriptures say, lean not on your own understanding. Okay, when you go to Acts, the book of Acts, I'm not gonna go to it, but when you go to the book of Acts, okay, I think it was Philip, if I'm not mistaken, had taught. He was going alongside of here. I might grab it. No private interpretation. Salakia. No private interpretation. Second Peter 1:20, knowing this first that no prophecy of the scriptures is of any private interpretation, right? There's only one interpretation, one truth, one faith, one Lord, one baptism, and no private interpretation of these scriptures. Now, uh, unless someone teach, no, let's type in understand what thou readest. Right, Acts 8:30. Let's read a little bit before that. All right, Acts 8:26. And the angel of the Lord spake unto Philip, saying, arise and go toward the south unto the way that goeth down from Jerusalem to Gaza, which is desert. And he arose and went, and beheld a man of Ethiopia, and Enoch of great authority under Kate Candace, queen of the Ethiopians, who had the charge of all her treasure, and had come to Jerusalem for to worship, was returning and sitting in his chariot, read uh, Isaiah the prophet, Isaiah the prophet, which is Isaiah. Then the Spirit said unto Philip, go near and join thyself to his chariot, to this chariot. And Philip ran thither to him, and heard him readest the prophet Isaiah, and said, understandest thou what thou readest? And he said, how can I, except some man should guide me? Okay, and basically the co-worker was saying, I'm self-taught. I taught myself this, and according to my understanding, the scriptures say, lean not upon thy own understanding ultimately. And he said, how can I accept some man should guide me? And he desired Philip that he would come up and sit with him. The place of the scripture where he read was this: he was led as a sheep to the slaughter, and like a lamb dumb before a shearer, opened he so opened he not his mouth. Right? In his humiliation, his judgment was taken away. And who shall declare his generation, for his life is taken from the earth? And Enoch answered Philip and said, I pray thee, of whom speaketh the prophet this? Of himself or of some other man? Then Philip opened his mouth and began at the same scripture and preached unto him Yahushua. All right, so the point is that, you know, uh, unless the spirit of Yahweh Shah is dealing with you, okay, and you're some individual out there who has the true right doctrine of the uh, interpretation of the scriptures, which is there is no proper interpretation, but uh, the one truth of these scriptures, there is no one who understands this unless they're uh, taught, okay, either by the spirit of Yahweh Shem Yahushua or by a man who ultimately has been set up by Yahweh Shem Yahushua, starting with the apostles and elders, great millstone, man, because nobody's understanding this okay, unless a man should guide them, teach them, okay. So going back to the point again, he was going to Lilith, and the serpent actually being a serpent, and the fruit actually being a fruit, an apple or whatever, according to his own understanding. Okay, so I didn't go back and forth with him after that, because the scriptures say, answer not a fool according to his follies. I mean, not even that. I just didn't want to get into it with them deep into that. I told him I would send him some videos, concerning the subject matter that we were speaking on. And then after that, if he gets it, he gets it. If he don't, I'll leave it alone. But ultimately, that's the point. Not to make this too long, I want to give all praise to glory, honor due to Yahweh Hashem Yahushua, Bahashem Rabbakakodash, double honors to my apostles, elders, great millstone. Until next time, shalom.